You're live.
Oy
Because you missed the flight, so...
Okay. We're in our temporary home for Slichas. What is that, until Wednesday? Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So it's going to make sure as well.
Till the new building's ready.
No! Until after Slichas, then we can go back upstairs.
So the new building's going to be ready by then, no?
It's going to be ready without air conditioning. You want to go without air conditioning? Yeah. Okay. We're holding Klal Omer Rabbi Yeshua. Ah, so he's right.
Yeah, but this is the only time I ever had it.
Oh, now it's right? Still not live. Okay. We're holding Daf Dalet on the base.
No, I'm like,
Klal Omer Rabbi Yeshua. Kol shehoisel shas heder lakoyhanim. Ein moelim bo. I'm asking the oilam, please don't, if you could not come to shir, it's better. During slichas, please, we're trying to save room for the oilam. So if you're part of the oilam, Klal Omer Rabbi Yeshua. Kol shehoisel shas heder lakoyhanim. Ein moelim bo. So the side is, I don't want to show you this yet, but okay, let me ask you. The way we learned until now, there's a cutoff point. When it becomes mutter to the kohen, we were saying, it goes from kachi kachim from Meilah to na Meilah. What is that point? It becomes mutter to the kohen, what do you say? Zrika, that's what we were saying until now. And now you have to make a switch in your head. Because I was just going like that the whole time, that's the pashtus. But now we're going to see that maybe it's not so simple. Maybe there's another time and period that becomes mutter to kohanim. We say, because the pashtus of the word mutter to kohanim means it's mutter for them to eat. But there's other things. Kol shoyzel l'shas heder kohanim, ein moelim bo. So once it becomes mutter to kohen, then it leaves kachi kachim, leaves kachi Hashem, and becomes the reshus of a kohen, and therefore ein moelim, there's no iser mi'ilah. This is the Mishnah. And if it didn't have even a moment for the kohen, then it remains Isser Meilah forever. What does that mean? In other words, if it became mutter for the kohen for one moment, and after that moment it stayed overnight, or it became tameh, or went out of the Beis Hamikdash, it's too late. It's already the kohen's, it's no longer Meilah. What does it mean it never had a shas heter? This is all the Mishnah. So when there's a problem of pigul, it never became the kohanim, and Meilah, it remains Osir, remains Meilah forever. So now here starts the sugya. Bar Kapara tells his nephew, Bar Pedas, Re'ei ma'ato shoyaleini l'mocher beis hamedrash. There's a, do we have a moment here? Yeah. There's a beautiful story that was going around about Meilah Feinstein, the Gal Adar, that this young bacher tried to prank him in the middle of the night. He called him up at 11:30 at night, called up his house, and the Rebbetzin answered the phone, and she said, yeah. She says, I have a big emergency. I need to speak to Rosh Yeshiva. So she said, the Rosh Yeshiva is sleeping. He says, no, it's huge. This is a big problem. Please wake him up. So Moshe Feinstein got up, he put on his clothes, he washed Nagavas, he picked up the phone, and the boy says, how you doing? He started joking around with him. So Moshe Feinstein, what's going on? He says, what yeshiva do you go to? So he says, I'm not telling you. He says, what are you learning? So he told him, I'm learning. He says, do you know what's going on? He says, no. He says, okay, I'm going to learn with you. And it says, I think JJ, one of these, it's on the WhatsApp running around. Why? Kids said the boy learned with Moshe Feinstein for an hour. He spent an hour, he explained to him the whole sugya. But here's the point. In the middle, he says, listen, here's an unbelievable kasha. You hear the kasha? The kid goes, yeah. He says, repeat the kasha. He didn't know it so well, so he repeated it again and again. He says, this kasha, I want you to ask your Magid Shir. When you go to yeshiva, ask your Magid Shir. Don't tell him that I... So the boy went to yeshiva, and the Rebbe was saying over the Gemara, and he says, Rebbe, I have a kasha. So the guy said, it's a Mordecai kasha. Let me get back to you. And he worked on it. A day later, he says, I have a teretz. And the boy said that gave him a lot of confidence. And he became a Magichir, this guy. He became like some sort of Roshir. That's the end of the story. So when I read this Gemara, I saw this. I'm going to give you a kasha to ask me tomorrow in Beis HaMedrash, but it's not really. It's not mamish the pshat. It was just a good excuse to say over the Maisa. There's no shaykh to this Gemara.
Yeah, shaykh the Gemara is that one's got to prepare the daf before you come to.
Oh, okay. Anyways, he says, look, tomorrow we're going to learn this sugya. I want you to ask me a really good kasha over here. He didn't give him the kasha. He didn't feed him the kasha like Ramesh Vaisa. You ask me a kasha, and like this, we're going to get into the sugya. When I read it, simple, it looked like no. Heter shchita shaninu is already his kasha. Is Bar Padas. Bar Padas is already asking the kasha. Bar Kapara told him, look, we have to do this and this sugya tomorrow. You're going to ask me a question, and through that question, so what did he ask him? He asked him this point. Here, you have Meilah. We have Meilah Kachi. What is the cutoff point? Our cutoff point, up until this point, we were discussing Zrika, that after Zrika becomes mutter to eat. Now he's asking, wait a minute, maybe the cutoff point is Shchita, or maybe the cutoff point is Kabbalah, or maybe it's Heter Achila. So he asks him, Heter Shchita Sheninu, maybe the cutoff point is Shchita. Why Shchita? Because Shchita, Tosis explains, is when it becomes mutter for the kohen to do the other avodah. Because anybody can do shchita. A Yisrael could also do shchita. So what if there's a shchita, and then it becomes mutter the kohen not to eat? We were looking mutter the kohen to eat. No, mutter for the kohen to continue doing his avodah. Oi, heter zrika shaninu. What is heter zrika? What we call Kabbalah. Once it's in the cup, Kabbalah, number 2. Or maybe it's this. Once I could perform Zrika, and then you can say, Kolor milizari kizari gdami. So Meilah, that's the heter. That's what it means, heter kohanim. Oi. What? Okay, Taisus goes into why one is like this, one is like that. But it means Kabbalah. Which one?
One of the 4 avodas is halacha.
No, because that has no significance. Heter Zrika means once there's a Kabbalah, so it's already my cup, then it's as if it was Nizrak already. It's a significant action. Halacha means nothing for us right now. There's no heter for a kohen more than it was before or less. Over here it gives us a heter. Or heter achila shaninu, and this is so Tosis. Tosis explains this? What does it mean that it's in the cup? It's a heter Zrika. And maybe that explains a little bit why it's called Heter Zrika, because now it gives the kohen the heter to do Zrika. That's what Pshat and Taisus. By the way, in case you were wondering why these dapim are so short, is because once again what seems to be Rashi is not Rashi; it's the Mefarish. So anytime there's a Mefarish and not Rashi, Taisus takes over the role of Rashi and he explains. So now he does double duty. He explains it like a Rashi. And he also asks his Taisus questions. So you have double Taisvis, everything. So on 10 lines of Gemara, you have that much written here. And therefore, all the Dapim and Meilah, every single one basically, is a very short in terms of words. But not in terms of Eichos.
I believe there was once a Rashi that's been lost.
I'm sure. Why would Rashi not write on it?
So Tosis wouldn't have known at that time it wasn't Rashi, but Tosis was edited hundreds of years later.
Yeah.
The Tosis we got was edited like in the 1300s, 1400s.
Meilah.
So they at that point they already knew there was no Rashi. So when they edited Tosis, they edited it in that way.
They added to Tosis, you're saying?
Right, like Rashi.
Our Tosis are liquid from the Bali Tosis, so that was done.
Oh, you're saying that they added specifically to Tosis, not Tosis themselves did it. Interesting.
So you mean there were these type of Rashi type?
He's saying that Tosis is a lot of Tosis. Tosis, the one that we have is more condensed, and they took out the Pshat because we have Rashi. But now they didn't take out the Pshat. That's what he's saying. It wasn't that Tosis wrote all this. Very interesting. You don't argue with Rabbi Schomburg. So now we have a machloikes Amoraim. Chizkiya Amar Het Shaninu, Rabbi Yochanan Amar Het Achila Shaninu. So if you look over here, the question was, is it 1, 2, and 3? And the answer is that it's 1 and 3. We're going to see later on that they're going to address number 2, the Tanoim address it. So Chizkiya says that as soon as there's Shchita, it's no longer what? No longer Meilah. That's Het Shchita. When you do Shchita, that's it. This right over here, the Meilah of Kachim Kachim, moves away and becomes. Yeah, exactly. This is not gonna. We're gonna see. Omer Bzeira. Loidaiko Masnisin the Loike Chizkiya u the Loike Rabbi Yochanan. Our Mishnah doesn't go like either of them really. Now we're gonna see that according to Rabbi Yochanan, who says that it's a heter achila, it's a real kasha, and according to Chizkiya, it's not a bam kasha, but it's not so meduyik in the lashon. Tnan, because it says in the Mishnah, Shalana v'shenitmis v'shiyotzas, that it was a heter to the kohen for 1 minute, for whatever it was. Come on in, Levi. No, I can't do this without you. Get in here.
Sit on Ellie's lap.
Can't. Only Gershon has 2 chairs. Oh, there's a chair over there for the film. We gotta get rid of that. Kids, this room, plenty of room. Here, sit over here. Come. No, we need another picture. All right.
It'll be analyzed all over the world by the thousands of viewers. You want to slide over to the left.
So we're talking about there's a heter for kohanim. The kohen was able to eat it for a minute, and then it says lana nitmis v'yotzas. Those are the psulim that happened, and it's too late. We don't care if there's lina, tuma, and yitzia. Lav, that it doesn't matter. Once it's mutter to the kohen, there's no me'ilah anymore. So even though now it's aser for the kohen because there was a lina, that doesn't ruin it. There's no me'ilah anymore. Once it's not me'ilah, it's not me'ilah. Lav, deloy lon, lav delon dam. What are we talking about? What kind of lina are we talking about? Now, the Gemara wants to say we're talking about lina in blood. The blood was left overnight. Why? Why does the Gemara want to say that? When we read it, we thought it meant the lina of meat. Now the Gemara is saying no, it means the lina of blood. Why? Because the next part of the Mishnah is talking about lina of blood. Of not lina of blood, but the avodah blood. Pigul, when you're doing the avodah, you're thinking, you're not being mefagel in the meat necessarily, mefagel in the blood. So Meilah over here also we're talking about blood. What's the Gemara's teretz going to be? Loi. We're talking about meat. Okay. Well, what's the kasha? Lav delon dam v'katani ein moilim boy. What? It's a fucking shas. V'katani ein moilim boy. So it says here that there was what happened? There was a lina afterwards. So that he received the blood in a cup. Receiving the blood in a cup without doing zrika is enough to remove the me'ilah. So which one of those is this? Number 2. Kabbalah. He received the blood, it stayed overnight, and it's still not me'ilah anymore. He didn't do number 3. He didn't do zrika because it stayed overnight. You can't do zrika after overnight. And the Mishnah says that there's no me'ilah anymore. So what's the cutoff point? Number 2. That's a bam kasha on who? On number 3. Is it a bam kasha on number 1? It's the nish kasha tika kasha. It's not a stira gemura because maybe the Mishnah is not so meduyik. The Mishnah went a little bit too much. It should have said it started shchita, but it's not a stira. Over here it's a stira. It's telling you even without zrika, it still is not me'ilah anymore. Yeah? You hear what I'm saying? You look a little...
I'm puzzled by the whole mahalach.
Okay. It's my fault because I let you stray from day one. I told you it's achila.
Well, no, why is it No. Why is it not to Meilah? Because it's now the Kohen's. The Kohen can do with it what he wants.
Right.
And he can't do what he wants with it.
So Taisus has explained that from Shechita, now the Kohen can do what he wants in terms of Avodah. It becomes the Kohen's because now he performs the Avodah to it.
No, he can't do what he wants. He's been told he's got to do this, he's got to do that, he's got to do
Okay,
this,
but it leaves as
He's
Kodesh
not-
Baruch
he's
Hu's
not
possession,
free
so to
agent.
speak, because now the Kohen is in charge. Kohen has to do his thing. That's how they learn.
He's not free agent.
Okay. I'm telling you, that's why it seems more simple to say Heter Zrika, Heter Achila. I hear. Ushmami no, what?
Shenitmes v'sheyotzos makes it not a kasha on Chizkiah, because you see that the other two examples are much later also, even after Zrika, even after Kabbalah.
Maybe it became okay. I mean, the Gemara is focusing on Ushmami no Heter Zrika sheninu. Loi. We're not talking about the lean of the dam. We're talking about the lon basar. Avadam is dark. It's already after stage 3. There was already a Zrika, and then happened the lina on the meat. Well, the Gemara answered Rabbi Yochanan that we're talking about after Zrika, not so much on Chizkiah. It seems like there's already Zrika here. There's for sure Kabbalah, maybe even a Zrika, and Chizkiah says that already there's no Meilah from the point of Shechita. The Gemara is not that bothered by it.
Chizkiah doesn't have to come out to that answer.
No,
It's a
but
text for
yeah, but either no, Chizkiah is in trouble either way because it says Kabbalah. It's either Kabbalah or Zrika, but it's not Shechita. No, nowhere in the over here does it say. It says once you have lina in the blood. When you have lina in the blood, it can't be Shechita. It has to be already in the cup. Cup is Kabbalah. You want to say it's not Kabbalah that he already did Zrika? It just doesn't say it. It's talking about Basar. Fine. It's still a problem with Chizkiah, but not a major one. Now, from here on, Tosfos has two pshatim, and he says the main pshat is the second pshat, and therefore we're going to read it according to the second pshat. It is Meilah. There are problems with Gersais and things like that, like we had. Where do we have it in Tmura? So here's an example. Tnan ve'ezehi shaloi hoysel hashasa kosher lakoyhanim. And again in our Mishnah, and we read it before. What's considered that it never had a chance to go to the kohen? Shenishchata chutz lezmana v'chutz l'mkayma. Before it ever went to the kohen, there was a machshav of pigol. He's going to eat it chutz lezman. Here's what the Gemara is going to focus on. V'shekiblu psulin v'zarku es dama. What does that mean? Every time we read something like that, what does it mean? The psulim did Kabbalah and they did Zrika? Or they did it one or the other? Usually we read it, most likely we read it, it's one or the other. V means not and, it means or. And in or. The puzzle, this guy that has a mum, or whatever reason, he's puzzle, he's tameh, he's puzzle, he's mekabel the blood, or he threw the blood. As the Gemara Echidami. Ileim in the Zarku psulim, the Kiblu psulim, if he did both, Lomaliyad Diketarti. That doesn't make sense. Reb Hillel, Shalom Aleichem. No, we need a picture from that corner going this way, I'm telling you. Well, look at this. This is unbelievable. They're stoifif here.
More people showed up today.
I know what to do now. I tell them, don't show up, and that's it. It works every time. The Eilam is still up from 1 o'clock. It doesn't make sense that the puzzle would have to perform two things to make it bad. If the puzzle guy does one thing, either Kabbalah or Zrika, that's enough. Why does it have to say he did Kabbalah and Zrika? That doesn't make sense. How do you get right? Elalav, the Kiblu Psulim. Oh, now you have to take out these words, Zerku, Ksherim. It's not like so necessary to take it out. But the main point here, we're trying to prove Heter Achila, says Tosfos. We're not trying to prove Heter Zrika. We're not trying to prove step number 2, we're trying to prove step number 3. So Meilah, if that's the case, Tosfos sticks in here, Oi Zarku Psulim. It's either or, meaning if the puzzle threw it, then who did the Kabbalah? A kosher. It's either or. A puzzle could either do the Zrika, or the Kabbalah, or he does the Zrika. That's the point there. He does the Zrika. So who did the Kabbalah? A kosher. And nevertheless, what happens? Uktani moyalim boy. Shmamino heter achila shaninu. It's very good. If a kosher did step number 2 and still it's asur, so what do you see? That's not step number 2 that determines Meilah, it's step number 3. So it's heter achila. The kosher has to do step number 3 in order for it to not be Meilah. What does it say? That if a kosher did step number 2, he did Kabbalah, and then a guy that's puzzle, a guy that has a mum, did step number 3, there's still Meilah. Why? Because there's no Zrika. Meilah, you see that what's important is Zrika, not Kabbalah. This is Mamish Mefurish. If you learn it like that. If you say that the Mishnah is saying either or, either Zrika, that the puzzle did either Kabbalah or Zrika, not both. It doesn't make sense to say that he did both, because why would somebody that's puzzle have to do both? It's like saying, the guy that's puzzle, he did the Shechita, he did the Kabbalah, he did the Halacha, and who cares? He did one of the 4 avodas, and that puzzles it. So obviously it doesn't mean that he did 2 things. So which one did he do? Either one. So if he did Zrika, why is it puzzle? The kosher did the main thing. The guy that's a good kohen did Kabbalah, and that's the main thing. That's what takes it out of Meilah. But it says no. That if a puzzle did the next step, it's still Meilah. Why? Because the next step is the main one. So you see from here, heter achila. Now if you look in the Gemara, it says shma mino heter zrika. In our gears it says heter zrika. It says Taisus, you got to take that word out. That's a major problem. It's a flaw in the girsa. It should say shma mino heter achila shaninu. It's a huge nafkamina how you learn the sugya.
It can't be talking about when it's psulim, that we're not saying that the kohen is a balmum, but him having a machshov of pigul makes him possible. I know it says
What?
oy psulim, but I mean...
Oh, no. Because it's talking about a puzzle, a person who is puzzle. That is no shaila. Kiblu psulin, not puzzle, or psulin.
No,
We're talking about a person.
Pigul has to be, he has to do both. The question, why does it mention both? Because pigul he has to do both.
He doesn't have to do both in pigul. He just has to, he has to finish out all the avodas, but he could do the pigul in one avodah. He could do pigul in shchita and then be quiet. He could do pigul and shchita, and then he continues on Kabbalah Elocha Zrika, and then he's over. As long as he finishes it out, and he had a machshavas pigul in one of them, that's okay. Mas kifla. Now, very interesting. We have the same exact lashon in a completely different case. Now we just said that this lashon means either or, so it would have to match up to the same exact lashon in the other masechta. It says Mas kifla Rav Yosef. If you're going to tell me that when the Mishnah says Kiblu psulim v'zarku, it means they did one or the other. Hadastan Hasam, it says Chatas psula ein domaton kibus. Right, there's halach to wash the clothing if they have a little bit of blood from a chatas. Right? It's a deraisa. It's a pasuk in the Torah. If you get a little blood on you, you have to wash it. Kibus. Now, it's not considered blood in certain situations. If it never had a chance, it was always puzzled, then it's not considered blood. What does it mean? So if it was good blood, and right now it isn't good blood because it's lina, the whole blood is lina, the whole blood became tamei, it's not blood. Same lashon as bayas, but a completely different halacha. But it says our lashon v'shekiblu psulin v'zarku es dama. What's a situation that it never had a chance, it never stood a chance? This blood, the puzzle guy received it, and the puzzle guy did zrika. Hechidami. If he did both, who dein damaton kibos? So now the Gemara asks a little bit of a different question, even a stronger question. You're telling me that in a situation where the puzzle did two things, he did Kabbalah and he did Zrika, then that blood is not usher to go on your clothes. Haki bluv is arkuk sherim, damaton kibus. It's mashma. Because the apostle guy did both, that's why it's not considered real blood. And if it goes on your clothing, you don't have to wash it. But if a kosher guy did both, then it is good. Then it is blood. Why? Now, what did the kosher guy do? He did Kabbalah and he did Zrika, and then what happened? The blood went on your clothing. You would have to wash it. That's not true. Once the kosher guy does Kabbalah and Zrika, that's it. Game over. There's nothing after the Zrika. This whole, what the Torah is telling you have to wash your clothing, is before Zrika. How do I know it? Karikan asher yizim midama v'lo yishukvar huza. Once this is Zrika, this halacha doesn't apply. Elo lav dafka. So Meilah, we have to say it's only Kabbalah that passes the blood, not the Zrika. Hachinami lav dafka. So by us also, it doesn't matter that there's a Kabbalah, there's a Zrika. It's only Kabbalah. So what do I see from here? Het Zrika. In other words, the only thing I care about, according to that Mishnah, the only thing I care about that the apostle did was Kabbalah, not Zrika. Because if he did Zrika, then if you reverse it to a kosher person, then there is no Zrika anyway. There's no Isser over there anyways. The whole Isser of blood, of Kibbutz blood, is on Kabbalah. Hold on, 1 second, let me just finish. So the whole Isser over there is Kabbalah, so the whole Isser by us is Kabbalah. And Zrika, mamish lav dafka. The Mishnah said, Kabbalah Zrika didn't mean it. So what does that tell us? Kabbalah is the main thing, and this, we're focusing on number 2 now. What takes away Meilah? Number 2. Just like over there by that Mishnah, what causes the blood not to be considered Chatas blood and not to be Chayav Kibbutz? Number 2. No. Omer Avasi Imkein Lomali Lemisni Tarti. Answer Avasi, a very simple question. I understand if one of the 2 Mishnayos was Dafka and one of them was not Dafka, I'll give you a pass. In other words, let's say over there, Zrika was Bedafka. So it makes a lot of sense why our Mishnah uses the same exact Lashon, even though it's Lav Dafka. A lot of times the Mishnayos do it. They mimic the same Lashon as the other Mishnayos, even though by us it doesn't make sense.
I did it.
No. Close, but not really. Okay, whatever, maybe. I'm saying, I hear what you're saying, but it's not used in the same. I need the Tana over there, so it says the same Lashon over here, he's saying. Okay, but not because halachically is correct. But to say two places where it's mamish lav dafka and stamli threw in a word, for what reason? It makes no sense.
Rhymes with the niggin of the Mishnah.
Oh, by the way, rhyming with the niggin of that Mishnah that makes sense, and our Mishnah doesn't make sense, that makes sense. That you can, I'm not used to this, Sam. What's going on? Oh, yeah. I feel like he's the quarterback. No, I'm the center. He's like, hot. Okay. All right. Yeah. Why don't you move to the side, Rabbi? But just make sure you don't come tomorrow, because then it'll be a chazaka. All right. Hello, I'm paying attention, by the way. I noticed you came yesterday. Oh. He's taking
That's also be a chazaka. Twice is a chazaka.
Rabbi Isai, he's a man that stays up all night working. He's a nurse. It's very hard. Okay. Zog the Gemara. Ela nimila dafka. So mainly you have to say that by us it's dafka, meaning somebody did zrika. And therefore, that's why over there it also says a similar, it mimics our lashon. Oh, so now don't bring me any raya. Says the Gemara like this. Back to the kasha. So now the Gemara says it's not a kasha. By us, the puzzle did zrika. But don't prove from here that it's a heter achila. Don't prove anything. We're coming to say an amazing chiddush, a completely different chiddush, nothing to do with our sugya. We're going to say that really it's a heter Kabbalah. That when a puzzle does Kabbalah, it's by Kabbalah. The cutoff line for Meilah is Kabbalah. The Mishnah continues and says that the puzzle did zrika to tell us a different chiddush called shirayim. What's shirayim? What happens if there's leftover blood in the animal and then a kohen that's kosher comes along after the apostle did Kabbalah, and he does Zrika, and it's a apostle because Zrika is a apostle Kabbalah, comes a kosher kohen, and he grabs more blood and he repeats it. Now you could say what should be logically is that it's 100% kosher. Why? Because the guy that threw the blood, he's apostle. He has no business being the Beis HaMikdash to begin with, and his Zrika is 0. He did nothing, and then comes along a kohen, and he does a proper Kabbalah and Zrika. So here we have another chiddush, nothing to do with our sugya. No. Once this apostle guy does Zrika, he locks out the animal. That's it. The animal is closed off for business. You can't do, not dachay, it's finished. The animal is you can't do Zrika anymore. This animal had apostle Zrika. You cannot repeat Zrikas. Once you have apostle Zrika, even though it's done by a apostle, it's still considered a good Zrika legabe to ruin it. My taimo, the Shirayim Ninu. No, I skipped. Welcome Ashmelon. The apostle Oisa Shirayim. Even though he's apostle, he still has enough power in him to create a isra on the animal that is Shirayim. Avagav the kibel apostle v'zorak. I might say, okay, he did his thing. He did Kabbalah, he did Zrika. But then, v'kibel kosher v'zorak. But l'maisa, I made up for it. I'm kosher. Lav klumi. It's 0. What I do is not my taima. The Shirayim Ninu. Fine. That's a chiddush, and that's all we're coming to say. That's why he continues. I confused you, and I stuck in the word v'zrika to tell me, v'zarku psulim, to tell me that he has a right to do zrika. Apostle has the right, even though he's apostle, he has the right to, in halacha, that his zrika is considered something chashav to ruin it for everybody, and a kosher guy can't do it anymore. No, because we're just saying that we don't have proof from here. All we're saying is we don't have proof. You want to say that Zrika is where it changes from Meilah? No, it's really Kabbalah, and the reason why it says the word Zrika. But if I want to say no, I could say no. That's not the Pashas of the Mishnah. The Pashas of the Mishnah is Zrika, like Rabbi Yochanan. I'm saying you can't prove it. Right. Yeah. Now we're saying our Mishnah in Meilah. Look, it says the Meilah. What's the lashon here? In other words, our Masechta Meilah is dafka when it says the word Zrika. The apostle did Kabbalah and the apostle did Zrika, but for a different reason, not what you think. Not because we passing like Rabbi Yochanan that the Zrika is what's Koveya Meilah. No, Kabbalah is Koveya Meilah. We're just telling you a chiddush of Shirayim. Very complicated and interesting to write a mission like that, but that's how they wrote it. But again, your point. But there's no proof one way or the other. If I want to say, I'll say, no, that's not the Pashas in the Mishnah. The Pashas in the Mishnah is like Rabbi Yochanan. That's what Rabbi Yochanan is going to say. It fits right like me. What are you telling me this thing about Shirayim? Who mentioned Shirayim? But the others will say, no, we're talking about Shirayim. You cannot fix it anymore. The leftover blood, let's say the blood is still oozing out of the animals. You can't do it. You can't say, oh, just because he did... I'm kosher. I don't care that apostle guy, he has no business doing it. Why is it? I don't even understand the svar. Maybe it's a apostle or something. I don't know. How could a apostle guy who has no business doing zrika ruin the whole animal? It's like a guy. If a guy did it, you care that a guy did zrika? We laugh at him. We continue. We do our own zrika. Katan. Over here, apostle does zrika. It's a good enough zrika to passel it. He had this kasha. Rish Lakish asked the question: Could a apostle ruin it with his zrika and lock everybody else out? There's nothing in the world that will create this isser on the animal. Only 2 things. If a person has a machshav of pigul, then he creates a shirayim problem. In other words, not a psul of apostle guy. Hoyel, and he explains, the zrika accomplishes pigul. What creates pigul? The final step is zrika. If I think about pigul during the shechita, it's not pigul yet until I do kabbalah ilacha and then zrika. So in Meilah, it has the power, but nobody else. Apostle guy cannot create a shirayim.
Because it was
Meilah, what?
Because it was no good what we used before. So therefore the blood coming out still is okay. Doesn't become possible.
No, it's
No, when the guy thinks to himself, pigul, so the zrika creates pigul, and Meilah I cannot go to the blood and try to get more blood and throw it.
undo the pigul.
Undo the pigul. Right. Meilah by apostle. It seems like he's saying that nothing in the world could create shirayim, even a puzzle person. Loi, afilu puzzle. It says mufurish, there is no other situation. Only pigul does it, not a puzzle. Hachikamar. Eilecha davar she'eni miratze b'tzibur voices shirayim ela chutz midizmani v'chutz l'mkoymai. Our Mishnah is talking about something else. Aval tomei, the iser b'tzibur, our Mishnah is going to be talking about a tomei person. The only psul that we're talking about is tuma. Why? Because tamei the iser b'tzibur. There's the concept of tuma hudra b'tzibur. So somebody that's tamei can perform the avoda on a korban tzibur. Shavish shirayim. In that case, that psul in our Mishnah, Mr. Tamei, could create a shirayim, but other psulim not. Shar psulim lo yizinu b'tzibur. What he was talking about is other psulim. Other guy that has a mum, let's say. He cannot create shirayim. So guy, let's say he's missing his leg, he walks over to the animal and does zrika, that doesn't lock everybody else out. What locks other people out is a tummy person. He could lock other people out because he is by tzibur. Tashma.
No, but it can, everybody's the same. If tum hutra b'tzibur doesn't make any difference whether it's tum or not tum of the kohen. Everybody's treated the same.
Yeah, but in this case he's a puzzle. He happened in another situation. He's hutra b'tzibur, but right now he's not. It's not a tzibur carbon. It's a regular carbon. Right. It's a private carbon, and he's doing the avodah. He ruined it for everybody else. Tashma hapigul la'olam moilim boy. It says that pigul lasts forever. If you have a situation where there is Meilah, this kachi kachim, you have Meilah, and a person thought in his head a machshav of pigul, he ruins it forever. Lav deloy zarak. Maybe even in a case where there was Kabbalah. Only Kabbalah, step 2. Ushma mino heter zrika shaninu. And you see that as long as you do Kabbalah, that's when it switches over. Loi zarke. It's talking about in the third step. Meilah olam. So why does it say in every situation? Hakam mashmalon. Ke the Rav Gidel. Now we're going to the Rav Gidel. Dom Rav Gidel Amarav. Zrikas pigul einoi moitzi midei Meilah ve'einoi mevi lidei Meilah. We're actually over here only talking about kachi kachim, getting rid of Meilah, not necessarily kachi kalim, but at least it comes to tell us, like Rav Gidel, that once you have pigul or machshav of pigul in zrika, you did nothing. Your zrika is nothing. And Meilah remains kachi kachim. You never got rid of the kachi kachim. You never got rid of the Meilah. You never switched over. It was status quo. Same time. Huh?